Hey guys, welcome back to Olson's Garage. We're doing a bike review. This is my 1973 Honda CL350. And the only difference between this CL and a CB is these high pipes. This is technically a scrambler. These are really cool bikes. The pipe design is beautiful in my opinion, and that's what drew me to the CL over the CB. And I was thinking, well, if it's got high pipes, that means it's a dual sport. So later in the video, we're gonna try out some dual sport stuff. Yeah, but this is it. This is my 1973 Honda CL350, and it's pretty clean. It has a little bit of rust and stuff. I actually bought it from the original family. It was Dad's bike passed down to son and daughter, who then sold it to me. And I took this thing to Road America a couple times. This was automatized bike to kind of cruise around the entire site there. And it was so much fun. It's so comfortable. It's nice, and it cruises nice and smooth, nice and slow. Let's get some specs out of the way. This is a parallel twin 360 degree 2-valve motor. It is 350, or technically 325 cc's. It makes 33 horsepower at 9,500 RPM and 19 foot-pounds of torque, 20 foot-pounds of torque, right around 8,500 RPM. It has a 5-speed transmission. It's all wet sump. It has 2 CV carbs, 28 millimeters. It has an 18 in the back, a 19 in the front. It holds about 2.5 gallons. It has a center stand and a kickstand. It does technically have an electric start. Unfortunately, this bike's electric start does not work. Drum brakes, front and rear. High pipes. Unfortunately, these covers are kind of busted up. I'm working on repairing them right now. But the guy before me actually painted these lines on, which kind of look nice. I kind of dig it. It's not perfect. It definitely has a couple issues, but it's got fresh rubber and fresh gas in it. So let's go ride this thing. And if you're wondering, the passenger peg right here, this heat shield actually does a really good job of not burning your leg if you were to ride passenger. So don't take this thing out of the running for a passenger bike. You can't put people on the back. This is the choke too, so if it's down like that, that's no choke, and then up like that is full choke. So that's how that works. And it has a key right here. Bunch of bike dudes cruising through. The key is right here, so this is off and then on and then accessory. So that's that. Trying to think about what else this has. It's pretty basic. There's not a whole lot to it. It does have kickstart, which is really cool. And yeah, so this bike only has 8,875 miles on it. I honestly have no idea how many miles I've put on this bike so far, but I've taken it on a couple trips and it's a lot of fun. So let's get into it. We're gonna get this thing on the road and try it out. So stay tuned. And unfortunately, I forgot the most important spec. It's 340 pounds wet, ready to ride, full tank of gas. So it's kind of a heavier bike, especially considering how small it is. But it doesn't really feel that heavy when you're cruising it around. And hopefully we're going to get off-road with this thing. We'll be able to test that out a little bit more. So let's do this thing. Alright, so it's kickstart. This is where the electric start would be. Or no, no, I don't remember. This is the electric start button. That's supposed to be the horn. The other problem is that the battery dies, so it might not be charging either. Oh my goodness. Alright. It didn't like running and then firing back up. Try and get after it a little bit. Look cool. Alright, so the cool thing about this bike is that it handles very well. Its chassis feels very good, and it puts you in a really nice spot to cruise around on. You're in a very neutral position. The cockpit is a little bit on the tighter side. I'm only 5'9", and I feel not squished, but maybe slightly cramped. So maybe if you're 6 foot tall, it might feel a little more cramped. There are also adjustments that you can make, whether it be moving the pegs a little bit or adjusting the handlebars or anything of the sort. my indicators don't work, so I just want to let people know what's up. So this bike isn't particularly fast. That was full throttle the entire time in third gear. Like I said, it only makes 33 horsepower, so it's definitely not fast, but it is a ton of fun. And you can just whip it into corners. This thing, even with that knobby tire, it just feels really nice and planted. I will say on this one specifically, the rear shocks are kind of crappy feeling. I don't exactly love them. It's a nice place to be. The seat could be squishier, and that might just be replacing the seat. A lot of these are likely going to have old cracked seats, so you're going to have to replace the seat anyway, and potentially the cushion. I would opt for more cushion than not. These things do ride a little bouncy, a little not great, to be totally honest. This one might just be worn in the same spot, so it doesn't really have much cushion left in it anymore. All that foam was broken down. I mean, remember, this is a 50-year-old bike at this point. The CB360s, the ones right after the 350s, are just coming up on 50 years old, where this one's 52 years old. This is being shot in 2025. But yeah, I mean, everything handles the way it should. I mean, it's a little bouncy when you go over rough stuff. Those rear shocks, you know, they're sprung a little heavier, I think, to accommodate a passenger for most of the time. So just with that alone, it is a little harsh on the back end. But you could always just stand up too, which this bike does allow you to stand up in a fairly comfortable fashion. The handlebars could be just slightly taller as I'm trying to reach as I'm standing up, but the high pegs give you the ground clearance that you're looking for when you're off-road too, which is nice. And you can almost stand up just right, maybe with a slight hunch like you're a motocross guy. But yeah, I mean, this bike is definitely not fast. It's a slower bike. I don't think these things were ever really meant to be super fast anyway. It's a 350cc 70s. Yeah, I mean, it rides really nice. Smooth power. I think this would be kind of fun if you were maybe mechanically inclined. This would be a really cool first bike. Now, a downside is this thing does have points. So you're going to have to adjust and clean your points fairly often. So that is a maintenance procedure on this bike. And then it's just the normal stuff: engine oil, engine and transmission oil, the occasional clutch when that comes up, which likely on this bike won't be very often. This thing just kind of cruises along and does its thing. What is this about? This is random. This is like an off-road park. It's probably totally not, but yeah, this thing can kind of get it. The sun's in my eyes and I can't see. I mean, for what it is, it's a ton of fun to ride. I imagine a very similar experience. It's probably like with a Grom, where it's just fun to rip. speed limit 15. We're gonna try and jump this thing at like 30. Hell yeah. Hopefully I'm pulling the front wheel up on this thing and it'll look super sick. And we won't crash it. A little bit. If it has two wheels, I will try to wheelie it. Just very unsuccessfully is usually how it goes. I feel like a dirt bike guy, get my leg up so I can counterbalance. I tell you what though, this ain't my 250 two-stroke. Woo. Sorry, I gotta get a little bit of air quick. It is a hot one out here today. So one thing that I forgot to talk to you guys about, well, let's do this first. This thing's acceleration, well, not great. This thing still gets down. I think I've had this thing maxed out at around 70 something, which is a lot. It's like RPM maxed out. But the other thing that's really great about these is the brakes. The brakes are awesome on this. Probably should have looked behind me before I did a brake test. But for drums, you keep up on your drum service, keep up on those shoes, and they are just fine. Everyone talks so poorly about drums all the time, and I really don't understand it. Discs are easier to maintain, they typically work a lot better, and I'm sure if you're racing this thing, you'd probably find the limits of the drums. But man, drums are just fine. They work just fine. So, another thing I want to talk about, drums. Pretty much fine on this bike. With it not weighing that much, you don't have to over brake ever. Alright, so we're coming up pretty close to our next destination. I'll turn you guys off and we'll meet you there. Alright guys, we are at our next destination. We are in the woods. This is the Oak Creek track that I talk about sometimes. And with this being a scrambler, we're going to see how scrambly it is. Ow! I should have worn gloves for this. I kind of forgot to do that. I know a lot of people fishing here and stuff. I don't know if anyone's actually been back here to clear the trail at all, so we're going to do what we can. This thing is a little bit limited on what it can actually do off-road, but we'll try it out anyway. Whew, yeah, should have worn gloves. My bad on that one. This is getting overgrown. I guess it is kind of late in the season, but yeah. Whew, getting a little bit of mud on her. Oop. So this is just a trail that leads eventually to the little track part. This is just a nice, easy thing to get in and out of. It's not like going all the way to my parents' place or anything. You just kind of get your little bit of riding in. Whew, that was deep. Alright, so let's hold up here for a second. And my leg is stuck in the Kickstarter. That is annoying. And there's lightning bugs on me. Alright. Cool. So yeah, this is it. It's way overgrown right now, which is crazy. It's never this overgrown. I don't think anyone's been here in a little while. Usually you see a lot of fresh tracks. Yeah, this is crazy overgrown. A little wet. There's some water in here. I'm sure that this part up here is probably the absolute worst. This is where I like to jump. But it's cool because now we have all this ground clearance. We don't really have to worry too much about jumping stuff. All right. Let's see if we can get one little jump out of this bike. Maybe we'll wait for one more. Oh yeah, this thing flies like a rock. All right, single tracking. Hopefully this isn't way overgrown. I should tell Logan to meet me here one time and then just bring this thing. Yeah, so it definitely must have rained. Whew. Okay, that was really slippery. Maybe don't take your eyes off the road, dude. Yeah, so this is gonna be really slick right here. And I think I'm gonna leave the harder section of this trail to when I have a buddy here, just in case things go south. I mean, don't forget, this thing is an old motorcycle. It's not really a dirt bike. You can dirt bike it though. I don't see why not. That's kind of what I'm doing right now with it. But yeah, dirt bike. Dirt biking. Oh yeah, almost tucked the front end. Alright, maybe not a dirt bike. Definitely fun though. Oh yeah. So maybe a light dirt bike. Definitely not on heavy duty on this one. Definitely everything will be on hard mode. Yikes, look at that. Everything will be on hard mode if you decide to take this bike off-road. Alright, I'm going to choose way heat over getting crap in my eye again. So now, if you were to buy this bike and you were to just simply explore on it, I think that would be perfect, to be totally honest. Because if you're doing stuff like this, where all you have is that exhaust out of the way, and maybe a more aggressive tire. This is actually a more street biased tire on the front. This is hardly at all a off-road tire, so that might help with washing. But let's be honest, you're driving a CB with high pipes. That's about all it is. So I definitely got the two spectrums on the dirt bike scene as far as like the KX and the KDX go, and then this thing, which is might as well not actually be a dirt bike, but it's a dirt bike in my mind. Let's see if we can do it again on the straight road. This is only a 35. I'm gonna watch my speed on this one. But yeah, so basically it does 60. It takes about forever. Yeah, so that was the dirt section, and yeah, this thing's not very good at like mud and dirt, to be totally honest. It could probably do dirt just fine, probably do gravel roads just fine, blast around that kind of stuff. It doesn't really have the suspension, and it has a little bit too much weight to actually be good at either of those. Doesn't have enough suspension. It has a little bit too much weight to actually be good at an off-road bike. Definitely blast this thing down a dirt road, or just go exploring. As long as everything's, you know, relatively dry. I would probably not do this in the mud, just due to the fact that motorcycles without dirt tires in the mud are awful. But yeah, so it's starting to get a little later. Let's wrap up our final thoughts. So this is a really fun bike, and if you're an enthusiast and you know how to work on bikes and you've been working on stuff for a long time, I would say this would probably be a really great first bike. But let's be honest, this is my, I don't know, 10th bike probably, something along that line. And this bike is a ton of fun for me. This would be a fun first bike to learn on and then to wrench on a little bit if you're familiar with points and carburetors. I want to be very clear about those 2 points. Points, ignition, and carburetors. If you don't know how to work on those 2 things, I would definitely not get this. Or make sure you have a buddy that knows how to work on stuff like that. Now, outside of that, I think this is a great bike. It's not too fast, it's not very scary, it's very tame. And it's kind of fun to just cruise around and whip around. It's surprising the mannerisms of this thing on the road. It just rides, you know. It's a lot better than I was really expecting it to be, considering that it's 52 years old as of filming. This is a perfectly good bike, and if you're a little bit up the mechanical alley and you like working on your own stuff, I think this would be a really fun bike for y'all to get. And cool factor, everyone loves this thing. This is a cool bike. Everyone will admit that. So, thanks for watching. This has been Olson's Garage, and this is the CL350. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on the next one.